Hello vinyl community, it's Bill back after a while. I think I've been busy on lots of things, so apologies. I'm going to do a Q2 2023 acquisitions and divestments video. I haven't done any divestments in this last quarter, but I've been thinking about it a bit. So you never know, maybe next quarter there might be some divestments. I might take along some CDs and possibly some vinyl to one of my local record shops and maybe do some trades. We'll see. But first of all, before I get on to the acquisitions from Q2, I wanted to show you some concert tickets. And these are not my concert tickets. These are concert tickets that belong to my wife and her great musical taste was one of the many reasons that I married her. But I'll show you three concert tickets. So the first one is from May 1973, the 16th of May. And this is David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust tour show in the Music Hall in Aberdeen. And you can see it says, whoops, second show. And also very importantly, Valerie was in the second row, row B. So saw David Bowie in some of these exotic Japanese outfits, and she was in the second row. But you can see that the ticket price was £1.10. Now we know about inflation rates at the moment, but look at this. That was May 73. October the previous year, we have Lindisfarne being supported by Genesis and Rab Noakes, and that was, well, a front row ticket, I think. And no, it's on the gallery. It's on the gallery. But £1 to see Lindisfarne supported by Genesis and Rab Noakes. Rab Noakes sadly passed away in November last year, the 11th of November 22. He was, of course, one of the founding members of Stealers Wheel, and he had a great solo career prior to Stealers Wheel. And then I said that David Bowie concert was the Ziggy Stardust tour. And of course, when he got to Hammersmith Odeon, he announced his retirement. Can't remember if that was of David Bowie or of Ziggy Stardust. But that certainly left the spiders from Mars thinking, oh, what do we do next? But this ticket, Valerie travelled all the way to the Caird Hall in Dundee, which is a venue that the Beatles played on some of their early tours of the UK. And I was able to find out that this is actually from 1974. So Tuesday, April the 16th, 1974, £1.65. So yeah, inflation's running riot as far as concert tickets are concerned. So we were doing a bit of tidying at the weekend and came across a tin with, I think it was a wedding tin for Charles and Diana, and inside it there were various things, but these concert tickets, and also including this one, which is the Who Put the Boot In at Celtic Football Park. So I was also at this concert, 1976, 1976, and £4 for this ticket, but it was like a mini festival. So I didn't know my lovely wife when we both attended this concert. So back to the true purpose of this video, and to show some vinyl, some CDs, and some singles, and a turntable slip mat. Oh, exciting stuff, you know. Come on, William, let's get started. So, first off, we have The Best of Bond, James Bond 007, iconic sort of opening credits, sort of still from the James Bond franchise. This is a sort of triple vinyl gatefold. So we've got, yeah, the James Bond theme, which is an iconic piece of music, written by M. Norman, but played by the John Barry Orchestra. And then on side A, we've got Matt Monroe's From Russia with Love, Shirley Bassey doing Goldfinger, Tom Jones, Thunderball, and I'd forgotten that Nancy Sinatra did the soundtrack or theme song for You Only Live Twice, and John Barry was one of the co-creators of that in 1967. Next we have, well, I won't read out to them all, but there was On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the John Barry Orchestra. We Have All the Time in the World, Louis Armstrong, and Diamonds Are Forever. I'm going to read them all for side B. Live and Let Die, which Paul McCartney and Wings did a fantastic James Bond theme with that, and of course covered by Guns N' Roses. One of the highlights from their set from Glastonbury. And then Scotland's own Lulu, and again John Barry gets a writing credit, and this is for The Man with the Golden Gun. Then we've got Nobody Does It Better, Carly Simon and Sheena Easton for Your Eyes Only on side C. Then some pop megastars. Duran Duran, A View to a Kill, that's from 85. And Aha, that great Norwegian band, and they did The Living Daylights in 87. And then GoldenEye was Tina Turner. And then, as well as the iconic James Bond theme, I was also filling a gap in my, what I call my Jack White Connections collection. So Jack wrote the song Another Way to Die for the Quantum of Solace movie in 2008. And then there's Adele's on here for Skyfall, and No Time to Die featuring the young lady called Billie Eilish. So really nice gatefold, fantastic set of music. Fabulous album. What I'm going to show you next is the loot from a very enjoyable trip to the US. And yeah, we started, it was a real music trip. So I think I mentioned this in my last video, but we started off in New Orleans for a couple of nights, and we visited the New Orleans Jazz Museum, and then we took a river cruise on one of these big paddle steamers. Fantastic. I was so lucky. My wife and I are so lucky to be able to do that trip. So we sailed from New Orleans and followed the Mississippi to Memphis, where we visited Beale Street, and we also visited Sun Studios and Graceland. And then we took a trip to, or drove to Nashville via Muscle Shoals, where I had the pleasure to meet David Hood of the Muscle Shoals, or Swampers rhythm section. So, yeah, lots of music. The entertainment on the boat was first rate. So before that, I said I was at the Jazz Museum in New Orleans. So yeah, Jazz Museum has a vinyl record shop and CDs and various fridge magnets, all that sort of stuff as well. But I was also conscious about taking vinyl back in my suitcase, and maybe that wouldn't be a good idea. So then I saw this in the shop. It's a tin, and this one's called the Essential Crooners. So we've got Frank Sinatra, I Get a Kick Out of You, Dean Martin, Sway, Unforgettable by Nat King Cole. We've also got Pennies from Heaven, Dean Martin, If, Billy Eckstine. There was also Charles Trenet, or Trenet, Trenet if you're French, and La Mer, which has the subtitle of Beyond the Sea. And I'm sure this track in French was used in one of the episodes of Black Mirror, one of these Netflix series. Charlie Brooker's involved in it, and I think it was the one where there was people in outer space, and they were using some sort of avatar type thing to inhabit the bodies of people back on Earth. But yeah, Charles Trenet and La Mer, Beyond the Sea was in that. We've got Russ Colombo doing Auf Wiedersehen, My Dear. And what else? Perry Como doing Temptation, and Sammy Davis Jr., Something's Got to Give. So 3 CDs and lots of good crooners on that. Now, I mentioned about the entertainment on board being fantastic. And you say, oh, William, what you doing here? I must admit, I did think twice about this, but I bought a CD by Will Kiefer, who was a guitarist and banjo player that was on the river cruise, and it's signed. Yeah, the CD says Best Wishes from Will Kiefer, and it's a blues collection, but track 5, In the Middle of the Night, written by Will Kiefer, is an interesting song. So he's a talented songwriter, but he does Caledonia and Sweet Home Chicago and Texas Flood on here as well. So Will he did a couple of solo shows in the late afternoon or early evening on the boat, but him and a keyboard player would play in the engine room bar at the back of the boat. So they had a few portals, and you could see the big wheel keep on turning through the back of the stage. And yeah, had a few bourbons just to get in the swing of it. And my wife and I and our friends from the trip would have a great time dancing the night away while Will and I've forgotten the other guy's name were playing some really good blues and some Stones and of course some Creedence Clearwater Revival, Proud Mary, etc. So we had a fabulous time there. So yeah, next I'm going to show you Third Man record slipmat. Your turntable's not dead, says Jack White. So I bought this home, but on my turntable it doesn't quite go with the decor of the rest of the rooms. But I went to Jack White's Third Man record shop, where of course Neil Young recorded some of the Letter Home album, or all of the Letter Home album, because there's a kiosk in there that you can cut your own 7-inch single. But since I have no musical abilities, I skipped on that bit. But yeah, I had to buy some vinyl, so I haven't played these yet, but I got the White Stripes single for a whole $7 US, and it's got Lafayette Blues on this as well. So really nice candy stripe cover. And I also got Hotel Yorba by the White Stripes. Again, that was $7 US, and it's got the sticker from the Third Man record shop. I knew there was no chance of Jack being there, but this was bought from his store in Nashville. But I also bought, and this one's still in its plastic seal, I got the White Stripes CD Under Great White Northern Lights. Be controversial here, William. I'm going to say this is up there with the great live performances. I think there's a real buzz with the audience, and Jack and Meg are in top-notch form. We've got Let's Shake Hands, where they start with a Canadian bagpipe player, so channeling the Canadian Scottish roots there as well. But we've got Little Ghost and Ballin' Biscuit, Icky Thump, Jolene, and of course it finishes with that fantastic anthem, Seven Nation Army. So that was bought from Third Man Records as well. So when I came home from that trip, I was in one of our many Aberdeen record stores or vinyl outlets, and picked up a couple of second-hand albums. And because I'd visited Graceland and the Graceland museums, the car collection, and there's a whole heap of memorabilia to do with Elvis. Some really nice family photographs, all the gold discs, the piano that was used on the $1 Million Quartet, which was not at Sun Studios because it's in the collection at Graceland. But I picked up this album at a reasonable price, and it's the original soundtrack recording from his NBC TV special, and some nice photos of Elvis on the back. And we've got Trouble and Guitar Man, then Lottie Miss Claudie, Baby What You Want Me to Do, and then there's some dialogue and a medley of Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, and All Shook Up. And then there's some, there's Can't Help Falling in Love, Jailhouse Rock, some more dialogue, and then Love Me Tender. And then on side 2, there is some gospel stuff, and then a medley of Nothingville, Big Boss Man, Guitar Man, Little Egypt, and Trouble. And if I wrapped up with If I Can Dream. So this is from the Radio Corporation of America, also known as RCA. So great live concert captured on that. Two sides of vinyl. And then I must confess, haven't listened to this one. We have this on cassette, but I'm trying to complete my Stones studio albums collection, and pick this one up for a very reasonable price. It's from 1980, and yeah, the big song on here is the title track, Emotional Rescue, but we've also got She's So Cold and Dance and Where the Boys Go. So not their strongest album, but yeah, one that I wanted in the collection. A month or so later, because I'm trying to restrict my buying, running out of shelf space, but yeah. Prefab Sprout from Langley Park to Memphis, a great album, and of course the king of rock and roll speaks about Albuquerque, and yeah, Knock on Wood is not the usual Knock on Wood, but yeah, it's a very strong album. Yeah. So since I've been to Memphis, yeah, I've never been to Langley Park, but I've been to Memphis, so I really like this album. I think they're guys from the northeast of, well, guys and a gal from the northeast of England. This chap looks a bit like Michael McIntyre. Yeah. If you have a comment, you know where to put it. Right. And also got Ry Cooder's Bop Till You Drop. And yeah, this is from 1979. So it's quite a new wave sort of attire that Ry Cooder's wearing with his suit or jacket and the tie, etc. Nice and blue guitar as well, and some really good songs on this, Little Sister, and I Think It's Going to Work Out Fine, and then Look at Granny Run Run, and Don't You Mess Up a Good Thing, and Trouble You Can't Fool Me. Some really good backing vocals, and it's interesting. I don't know if you see this. It says about this digital recording. So in the very late 70s, they're going on about digital recording. Whereas now we know that analog recording is far better. So poor souls that went awry. I think the music on this is great, and even though it's got a new wave sort of look about it, it's very much Ry Cooder at his guitar and slide guitar best. But it says this album was recorded on 3M multi-track digital equipment, which, rather than modeling sound into magnetism in the mode of conventional analog machines, samples sound at a rate of 50,000 times a second and records its characteristics numerically. Digital equipment can encode and play back from 20 cycles to over 20,000 cycles without noise and harmonic distortion, produced by analog recordings. Well, we love that harmonic distortion, didn't we? So there's no generation loss, noise buildup, or loss of pressure occurs with this form of recording through mix down and tape transfers. The result is that music sounds cleaner, brighter, and more dimensional. Maybe a bit clinical. This record is essentially an exact copy of the master tape and was not treated with any equalizing or limiting during final transfer to disc. So there we have a cutting-edge digital recording of Santana's Moonflower. Nice gatefold, wee bit tatty. Smelled a wee bit musty. So, oh, you're going to love this. I think there'll be more comments in the below. So I thought, oh, I don't know if the previous owner had been a smoker or what, but there's that sort of, that smell to it. So this now smells very fragrant because I sprayed it with some. I took the vinyl out, sprayed it with some aftershave. So there you have Moonflower. I think this is one of the best Santana albums. So a lot of live stuff with some new recordings on it as well. But their version of the Zombies classic, She's Not There, is out of this world. The title track, Moonflower, also known as Fleur de Luna, is fantastic, but you've also got Black Magic Woman, Let the Children Play, and El Morocco, Transcendence, Gypsy Queen, etc. So, nice photos on the inner sleeves as well. So, can't recommend this album enough. It just makes you feel happy from start to finish. Although, confession time, I usually put on side 3 first to hear She's Not There, followed by Fleur de Luna, and then I'll go back and play the whole thing, side 1 to side 4. So there you have it. That's the end of my acquisitions for quarter 2 2023. Bye just now. Take care. I hope you're all keeping well, and thanks to all my subscribers. And the thing I really like is some comments so that I can have a little bit of textual dialogue with you. But hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye just now.